Today I want to look at 4 simple reasons why you should reject the law of attraction and anyone trying to teach it to you. The first and obvious reason is that the law of attraction is actually not a law at all. Laws by definition are consistent, like the law of magnetism or the speed limit in your neighborhood. They're always working and they always produce the same results. A magnet will always pull on another magnet or piece of metal, and it will always be illegal with consequences if you speed in a school zone. But do we see the same things with the law of attraction? The truth is that countless people who claim to use or practice the law fail to produce their desired results. In other words, the law of attraction is extremely inconsistent. It doesn't behave like a law at all, and that's because, well, it isn't. This brings us to the second reason why you should reject the law of attraction, which is that it's unfalsifiable. According to the philosopher of science Karl Popper in his book The Logic of Scientific Discovery, a theory or hypothesis is falsifiable if it can be logically contradicted by an empirical test. In other words, when something is unfalsifiable, it can't be proven wrong because it can't be contradicted. Let's use an example. If I see a dog and say that it's a fox, this can be easily contradicted. Visually, dogs and foxes look very different, and we could even take a genetic test and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the dog in question is most definitely not a fox. That was easy, but now what about something like the law of attraction? This is where the big problem lies. You see, everyone who peddles the law of attraction says the same things when people fail to produce the results they want. It's your fault. You didn't manifest enough, you didn't do enough affirmations, your vibe or energy was off, or your intention wasn't clear enough. Do you see the problem here? It's never the law, the program, or the person who sold you something that is to blame. It's always you. If I sell you an expensive package that promises to manifest your dreams, and you fail, you can never hold me accountable. Why? Because I can always say that you didn't do enough of something, and in this way, the law of attraction is unfalsifiable. The implications of this should be obvious, but many today have lost discernment and are easily snared by smooth-talking, charismatic salesmen and saleswomen. As long as I can sell you something that plays off of your deepest desires, and I can never be held accountable for it, this is a formula for the worst kind of spiritual gaslighting there is. In fact, the Bible's very first story of Adam and Eve and the serpent in the garden warns us about this very same thing. But we'll get back to that a little later. The next very important reason why you should reject the law of attraction is that any results you do create with it are not because the law is working, but because of another already established principle in psychology and behavior. This principle is called selective attention, and in simple terms, it's what happens when you start paying attention to new things in your environment. Let's use another example. When you buy a new car, you start to notice cars of that same type on the freeway, don't you? This also happens with lifestyle choices. I remember when I started growing facial hair, I suddenly noticed guys around me with beards all over the place. Now ask yourself this. Did I attract these people into my life, or were they there all along? The answer should be obvious. These people were there all along. What changed was that I started paying attention to something that I simply wasn't paying attention to before. The same goes for the law of attraction. Most people, when they seriously endeavor to begin using the law of attraction to make changes in their life, start paying attention to things they weren't paying attention to before. All of the practices of the law of attraction, like affirmations, writing things down, noticing how you think and speak of certain things, or watching who you associate with or how you dress, all of these things are positive behavioral changes that ultimately discipline your mind into paying attention to new things. New attention means new opportunities, which were really just opportunities that you missed before because you weren't paying attention. And new opportunities means new action, and new action means new results. Put simply, new actions will always lead you to new results. But this isn't happening because you're magically attracting new results like a magnet. It's happening because you're paying attention to things you weren't paying attention to before and doing things that you weren't doing before. It has nothing to do with attraction and everything to do with action. Get it? So now, before we get to the last and probably most important reason, let's do a quick review. The law of attraction is not a law because most people who practice it get inconsistent results and fail. It can't be falsified, which means your failure to use it always comes back on you rather than on the law itself or the person who you trusted to guide you to your desired result. And the results you do get are easily explained by a simple principle called selective attention. No need for expensive courses, coaching, conferences, or hours of meditation. If all of this wasn't enough to debunk this false law, here's the final, very important reason I hope you take to heart. You and I are not God. The Bible says that we were created in God's image as vessels of His will on earth. What this means is that we were designed to have a personal relationship with God, not to try to be the God of our own lives instead. Adam and Eve, the first humans, were tempted with this exact temptation by Satan, and it's because they took the bait that humanity needed to be redeemed in the first place. Eons ago, back in the Garden of Eden, the snake sold Eve the same idea that countless gurus are selling you today. The Bible says there is nothing new under the sun, and in this regard, the law of attraction, which is not a law at all, is as old as time. It is designed to make you spin your own wheels trying to be the God of your own life, and in the process separate you from the only source of life, which is God. And in the end, regardless of your failure, you can never blame the one who sold it to you. It is spiritual gaslighting, and it should be rejected. You see, my friend, when you realize that you can have a personal relationship with the living God of the universe, you don't need the law of attraction. God fights your battles, He provides all of your needs, and He gives us true wisdom without price. The Bible tells us that all things work for the good for those who love God. And in Jesus, we have a friend, an advocate, an advisor, and a comforter. You and I were made for a personal relationship with God, and the thing that consistently separated mankind in that relationship is the lie that we can be the gods of our own lives without the need for God. Look around you today and you will see this lie alive and well. It's only getting worse, but now you know better. So, if you're running the rat wheel of the law of attraction, there's a much better option, and His name is Jesus. He is the one who created you exclusively for a relationship with Him, and He's the one who knows your heart and what you need more than you know it yourself. Forget the law of attraction and instead focus on the law of grace, which is as sure as the rising of the morning sun. Through Jesus' death on the cross, mankind has been given pardon for living in rebellion since the devil sold Adam and Eve the law of attraction. And through faith in this perfect work, we are given a new heart, new desires, and a brand new life. I hope you now see the truth. The law of attraction is not a law at all, but it is very attractive. It attracts people who are desperate for change and answers in their life, and it attracts clients for those who have something to sell. Don't fall for it, but instead go for the real deal. God has nothing to sell you because God needs nothing. He has given the world His only Son so that we might enjoy eternity together, and that Son is coming back very soon. This is the truth, and it leads to life.